Good evening, friends, and welcome to our Tuesday evening spiritual mind healing service here at the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. We do want to welcome you very specially this evening. Thank you for taking the time out to be here with us. I am practitioner Jennifer Livingston, and as we do with all things here at the temple, I'll begin with our opening affirmative prayer. So please join me in consciousness for a moment. There is only one presence, one power, one infinite intelligence that governs, guards, and guides. That presence is God, and we're one with it. And in this knowing, I speak this word for this which we call a Tuesday evening spiritual mind healing service. I know that for every person within the sound of my voice, those who are tuned in on YouTube and here in this Zoom room, I know for each one of us that we pool our consciousness in the shared experience this evening. So I know that the ideas that we discuss and the thoughts that are exchanged allows us to fully express our individuality and our pooled consciousness collectively. So we give thanks for this coming together. We give thanks for the shared experience this evening. And I know for myself that the words that I have prepared to share with those who are listening will fall on receptive ears. And so I simply let go and let God be God in and as every activity this evening. And I joyously release this word to law, giving thanks that all this is already so, and so it is. Friends, please join me in a brief moment of quiet meditation. Just simply go within. As we relax and let go, we simply breathe into this moment, taking 3 deep centering breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in again and breathing out. And one last time. Breathing in and breathing out. And as we continue to breathe, I know that presence and power, which is God, is conducting every aspect of this evening's meeting. So I know that we simply relax into this moment as we tune in to this brief meditation music. And just let's take one more deep breath as we bring our awareness back into this room. Breathing in and breathing out. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting on. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And welcome back to our Tuesday evening Spiritual Mind Healing Service. Welcome to those of you who joined us after I had extended a welcome. And welcome again to all of those tuned into this service on YouTube. We want you to feel very much a part of everything that's happening here on the Zoom platform as you share in this evening's presentation. So friends, please note that we're reminded that this Tuesday evening service is usually an opportunity for us to ask questions, to get answers. And so, this idea of the service, it's going to be interactive this evening. We'll share ideas with each other. So it's going to be an interactive session. And so I want you to prepare yourself for that. You can participate by opening your microphones, or you can put your information, you can put your answers in or responses in the chat. So let us get started. If you were at the temple last Friday, just give me a show of hands. You can use your raise hands feature, or you can just put a yes in the chat that you were there. Anybody was a part of last week's Friday service, and what we had was the Taizé service. I know there are a few of you there. So I'm seeing some responses. Awesome. Well, at that service, which was held at the center, the theme was gratitude. And it's centered around us giving thanks not only for life, but for all the things we had to be grateful for. And especially here in Jamaica at this time. You see, this matter of Thanksgiving is also being celebrated, as you know, this week by our neighbors up north, because this Thursday is their Thanksgiving holiday, November 27th. And while it is not a holiday for us here at home, Thanksgiving Day, a specific day that they have set aside to give thanks for what they have, is an annual holiday. And this tradition in the United States dates back to as far as 1863. So that's just a bit of history for you there. But the holiday itself is not the focus of my talk this evening, but more so to look at this whole matter of Thanksgiving and what it means to give thanks. So friends, the importance that it plays in our lives and affairs cannot be overstated. In fact, in a Science of Mind archives, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, had given a talk on the topic of Thanksgiving in a radio broadcast of a program he had called This Thing Called Life. And that was back in 1949. Now, Dr. Holmes, in that talk, shared some really important points about what it meant when we were observing Thanksgiving. And he was giving this talk around the holiday time. It was in November. So he was actually speaking in relation to their Thanksgiving holiday. And he said that it really meant that we should be grateful for life, praise the giver of all good, which is God. And he reminded us that the psalmist David said Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Friends, there is a divine presence at the center of things which responds to us when we give recognition to it. And Jesus, the master teacher, recognized that God presence within each one of us, and he approached life knowing this to be the truth. And thus he was able to perform the many miracles that he carried out while on this plane of existence. You will record the feeding of the multitude in Matthew chapter 14 and verse 19, when the boy brought the few loaves and fishes. Jesus didn't condemn them, but looking up to heaven, he gave thanks for their increase. See, friends, it is said that what we praise, we raise. Are you giving thanks and praising your increase? Are you gratefully acknowledging the good you wish to experience? Or are you busy talking down your good? Because sometimes we say these things all unconsciously, So you may hear us comment about my little pay or my little job. And we have this thing about us that everything is it little. But you know what? We need to be mindful of how often we do this and talk down our own good. It is really important that we continually bless and give thanks for everything that we have in our lives if we want to see ourselves continue to thrive. You see, in 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 18, we are reminded, in everything give thanks. Note, in everything give thanks. So it means to express gratitude in all circumstances, both what is good and what is not so good. So if we look at that question of, always giving thanks, we might want to say, well, the hurricane was unfortunate. Yes, it was. But we can still give thanks even in those circumstances because we have life. So, my question to you, right where you are, can you think of 5 things that happened today, just today, for which you can give thanks? And you can think about it because I'll revisit that question later on in this evening discussion. So remember, you express gratitude in all circumstances, both good and those that are not so good, what we would call bad. So just think of 5 things that happened to you today as you're going about your day that you can be thankful for. So, friends, since we know there is a divine presence at the center of everything and everyone, which responds to us, it is good to give thanks. We should give thanks daily for our relationships. How often we give thanks for our partners, our wives, husbands, significant others, business associates, friends, family, co-workers, anyone whom you think of who have touched your life in any way. Give thanks for that individual and bless them for being part of your journey. Even if they're no longer on this plane of existence, give thanks for the time that you shared with them. And another simple practice, which we do as a routine habit, is to thank God every time we're about to have a meal. We give thanks for the blessing of food. And we know how important that is right now. So friends, when you have an opportunity to have a meal, just think of those who don't have the same opportunity as you do and give thanks for that meal. Dr. Holmes, in this talk that I referenced before, also shares some ideas which we can use in our place of business. And he states that if you're in business or you're looking to start a business, give thanks and bless your employees, your customers, the goods or services you offer, and also give thanks for your own efforts, knowing that it shall prosper and multiply and return to you 100-fold. Friends, I encourage you, for those of you in business of your own or thinking of going into business, to use this practice. Bless the business, bless those who work with you, bless your customers, bless the goods that you are offering or the services that you provide. But give thanks even for your own efforts, as this will help to bless the business and increase your good in that endeavor. Remember that in giving thanks and blessing our lives and affairs, we are recognizing that there is a divine law of good that is running through everything. And our recognition, acceptance, and affirmative prayer of this good puts the universe on notice to respond to us in a new and expanded way. It rises to meet our expectations, our faith, and conviction. And ultimately, our acceptance of the good we desire is demonstrated in our experience. In one of the talks Reverend Michelle shared with us some time back, she shared that thankfulness is a year-round mindset that can improve our lives. And I know many of you do this. I may be preaching to the converted, but I do want us to remember how important it is to have a thankfulness mindset year-round. It can improve our very lives. So I have a few affirmations that I'm going to say, and I'll break them down. You can just tune in. If you're not willing to open your microphone and repeat, that's okay. I'll share them with you. I'll break them down. And the first one says, let me read it through for you and then I'll break it down. Today, I give thanks for everything I have. I am grateful for everyone around me. I bless the events that transpire in my life, the conditions and situations with which I am surrounded. So I'll break it down slowly. Today, I give thanks for everything I have. I am grateful for everyone around me. I bless the events that transpire in my life, the conditions and situations with which I am surrounded. And just tune into that for a moment. And the second is, I give thanks for everything that goes out and everything that comes in. I bless myself and others, knowing that we are all living in the one mind and are all sustained and maintained by this one mind now and forevermore. So let me repeat that. I give thanks for everything that goes out and everything that comes in. I bless myself and others, knowing that we are all living in the one mind and are all sustained and maintained by this one mind now and forevermore. Yes, friends, when we affirm the good in our lives and when we praise the good, it continues to increase and expand. However, we all know that it's not always that things are happening in the way that we would like for them to happen. And you might ask, when the negative situations occur, what might we do? But as I referenced the hurricane and I spoke about, those persons can be thankful for life. We can even know for them that they have an opportunity to begin again. However, for yourselves, you might not be in that position. But when negative thoughts come up, which they often do, Louise Hay, an all New Thought luminary, writes in her book, Heart Thoughts, she shares that when a negative thought comes up, you can say, "Thank you for sharing." And it is not that you're giving your power over to the negative thought, and you're not denying that it is there. You are simply saying, "Okay, you're here. Thank you for sharing. I'm choosing to do something else. I don't want to buy into that anymore." See, what is important in the moment is what you are choosing to think, to believe, and to say right then and there. Again, your thoughts form the experiences of your today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. So it is so important what you are choosing to think in that very moment. But we should also give thanks for the things we have not yet seen. As Jesus, the Master Teacher, reminded us, "It is done unto you as you believe." And in the story of the 5 loaves and the 3 fishes that I mentioned earlier, you'll recall that Jesus did not see all the loaves and fishes needed to feed the multitude, but he gave thanks for the increase, and he blessed the substance out of which all good things flow. This is an example that we should follow. Bless what we have, recognizing that it flows from a limitless source. We are merely using it and distributing it. There is always more. My friends, the limitless resources of spirit is at your command. And such is the power of thanksgiving. It puts us in a state of joyful expectancy as we await our demonstrations. Now, in our practice of journaling, which I know many of us do as one of our spiritual practices, we are reminded that we should not only recount the activities of the day, but we should find 3 new things to give thanks for. And we should do this daily, each day finding 3 new things to give thanks for. Now, Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, author and New Thought luminary, also has a practice that he calls 30 days of conscious gratitude. And he recommends that, yes, you write, you have a book. You can use any notebook. You write 3 things that you're grateful for. You're going to do this for 30 days. However, on the second day, when you're going to write your next 3 things for which you're grateful, you read from day 1 the things you're grateful for. And you repeat that process every day for the 30 days. You find 3 things. However, once you have written down those 3 things for that new day, you read the things you had written in the previous days. But friends, whatever you prefer, whether you want to do this practice using a separate journal for a gratitude journal, or you want to include this in your existing journal, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, you should write down 3 things that you're grateful for and give thanks. Whichever you prefer. It's just all that is important is that you list it and you be mindful of these things. You see, this practice will also open us up to finding more things for which we can give thanks, and keeping ourselves prayed up and in a state of giving thanks in every moment opens us up to a greater receptivity for achieving our desired good. And so, as I wind up this talk this evening, I would like to share with you, and I'd invite you to just close your eyes for a minute and tune in. This is a reading, one of the readings from the Taizé service that was held last Friday. And so I just ask you to close your eyes, if you are able to, and tune in. And it reads, I am grateful for what I am and have. My thanksgiving is perpetual. An attitude of thankfulness serves me well when I consider the many blessings for which I am grateful. In this quiet moment, I open my mind and heart to experience the magnificence and magnitude of all that God is. I consciously know that I am grateful for divine presence in my life. Because of this, I give thanks in advance for the many possibilities and opportunities before me. With joyous anticipation and appreciation, I affirm I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. So be it, and so it is. Namaste. So, friends, now it's your turn. I'd asked you to share, think about 5 things for which you could be grateful for today. And I see Auntie Lil and Dawn have put something in there. Auntie Lil says computer problems, so I've switched to my phone. Well, you can give thanks, Auntie Lil, because you have a phone to switch to. Dawn says she's giving thanks for the money to pay for grocery today and all times. That is wonderful. And I scream to give someone who asked for it. What a blessing. See? So you had a wonderful day today. Thank you, Dawn, for sharing, and thank you, Auntie Lil. Junior, who is George Young, says, I'm grateful for being a vessel of help. That's so important. We don't somehow even recognize just the things that we do to encourage someone. That is something for which we can be grateful. Yes. For my own experience, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with you another time this evening. Carol says, Charlton says, grateful I was able to visit a friend today. Awesome. And I'm sure that visit did you a world of good as it did for your friend today. Yes. I was grateful I went to my high school this morning and interacted with some students there. And I am grateful for the lessons that they are teaching me and that I am imparting to them. Anyone else want to share something for which they're grateful? Because you can, when you leave this evening's service, you can always think about these things and journal on them. Is there any input on YouTube, Vance, so I don't leave my YouTube audience out? Is anyone sharing? I'm not on YouTube just now, but you could check for me, please, and let me know.
No sharing on YouTube.
No sharing on YouTube. That's fine. Thank you, Vance. Anybody else want to share their opinion about Thanksgiving? Whether or not you could be planning a trip for this weekend. I mean, there are persons who go up for this Thanksgiving. Maybe you're one of those who will be attending Thanksgiving up north this Thursday. But for whatever it is, we need to remember to be grateful. Yes, Carol, I can attest to that. So grateful to travel safely in traffic today. And the traffic was bad. When I left school, it did take me some time to get to the store. Yes. So I know, I agree with you on that. I think it's the 25th, it's month end. So we know what that means here in Jamaica, why traffic was probably so horrendous today. And so, friends, as we conclude our talk on Thanksgiving and gratitude. It doesn't stop here because you are going to do your practice of writing your 3 things or doing a separate journal or including it in your journal. But I implore you that every day you will take the time out to just be grateful and give thanks. Give thanks for your very life. Give thanks you're here one more day. And so I'll invite you now to put in the chat or open your mic and make your requests for your prayers for Spiritual Mind Healing Service, your prayer requests this evening. And I have a request of health already for Jeannie and Joy that I will do. So if anyone else wants an affirmative prayer of health, you can just let me know and I'll include you in that. But in the meantime, I invite you. Focus and guidance, that is so important. Thank you, George, for sharing that. Yes, grateful for focus and guidance, giving thanks. Important. And you, that's your prayer for light and illumination for you, Carol. I guess, George, that could be an affirmative prayer or a request as well, focus and guidance. So I'll include you in the light and illumination that I will do for Carol. And while you are treatment of health too, so Dawn for health. So I'll include you with Jeannie and Joy, her sister. She requested that. You are welcome, George. Divine guidance and protection. So I'll get started right now with the treatment of health, and then I will move into light and illumination. And then I will do right action and Leighton's daughter's birthday. So please take that journey within as we center ourselves in that one power and presence, God, operating in, through, and as each one of us this evening. We are one with this power. And in this knowing, I speak this word as an affirmative prayer of health for Jeannie, for Joy, and for Dawn, and for anyone else within the sound of my voice who is open and receptive to an affirmative prayer of health. There is only one life. That life is God's life, and that life is our life now. And in this knowing, I know that the perfect health of God is now being expressed through Jeannie and Joy and Dawn. I know for them that the perfect health of God is now flowing through every cell, tissue, and fiber of their beings. I know that that health is now revitalizing, energizing, and restoring everything that needs to be put right. I know that the health of God is expressed in Jeannie and Dawn and Joy as energy and vitality. I know that they move with grace and ease on this plane of existence. So I know that that perfect health is now circulating through their limbs, their joints, every vessel, every tissue, every cell, every fiber of their being. It is being touched into the wholeness that is God. And so I know for them a full restoration to perfect health and vitality. And all is well. And so I accept this as true for Jeannie and Joy and Dawn and anyone else who's open and receptive to that perfect health of God, as I joyously release this word to that infinite law of mine that has already said yes. Thank you, God, that this is so now, and so it is. And now, please join me in an affirmative prayer of light and illumination for Carol and for George. There is only one light. That is the light of God expressed in, through, and as each one of us. We are one with this light and illumination. And so I speak this word for Carol and for George, knowing that that light now brings clarity and wisdom and understanding. I know that that light, which is God, is now guiding and directing every thought, every idea, every decision that concerns them. I know for George that that focus that he needs is already unfolding in and as his experience this evening. And I know for Carol that the clarity that guides her decisions is even right now unfolding in right and perfect order. We give thanks for that infinite wisdom that always directs us and always guides us, because it assures us that we know what we need to do and when we need to do it. And so we simply relax, let go, and let God be that light and that clarity that guides our paths. It illumines every step that we take upon this plane of existence. I know that we are always divinely guided. I accept this, I believe this, and I know this to be the truth for Carol and the truth for George, that that perfect presence, which is God, guides them unerringly in every aspect of their lives this evening. I give thanks. I truly give thanks as I release this word to that infinite law of mind, knowing that it is fulfilled as I have spoken. Thank you, God, that this is so now, and so it is. And from this request of light and illumination, there is a request for right action for the Roden family as they navigate their way through the aftermath of the hurricane. And so I am knowing that there is only one presence, one power. That presence is God. And it is that which is even now guiding the actions and the activities of the Roden family. I know that everything necessary to guide them through this experience of this hurricane is even right now unfolding in, through, and as their experience this evening. I know for them that that activity, which is God, is now directing them to the right persons, the right resources, the right decisions. So I know they know what to do and they know where to go. As they allow themselves to be guided by infinite intelligence, the right ideas now unfold easily and effortlessly. I know that as they tune into that inner wisdom and guidance, that presence and power of God is even now unfolding in right and perfect order. We give thanks for the right activity that is expressed in their experience right here and right now. And we know for the Roden family and for all who have been touched by this experience of Hurricane Melissa, that right now, right action is unfolding in, through, and as each person's experience this evening. So whatever needs to be done is being done. Whatever needs to be put right is being put right. And whatever is necessary to make this experience one that is seamless and that is unfolding in right and perfect order is even right now unfolding in and as their experience. I give thanks. I truly give thanks, and I release this word to that infinite law of mine knowing that all this is already so, and so it is. And then I will do for Leighton divine guidance for his daughter and protection. And he is asking for divine order in his own, for himself and his professional resettlement and financial prosperity. Know with me that there is only one. And that one operates in, through, and as each one of us this evening. And in this knowing, I speak this word for Leighton and for his daughter Teriel, knowing that as she celebrates a birthday today, it is also the birthday of my sister. And so I know for those who are born on this special day, a very special blessing is now being poured into their experience. So I know for Leighton's request for divine protection for his daughter, I know for them that is right now unfolding in, through, and as her experience this evening. I know that wherever she goes, the presence and power of God surrounds her, enfolds her, uplifts and guides her. And I know that she's always protected. And I know for Leighton, his requests for guidance and resettlement of his professional career, I know that he is even right now being guided to the right decision, the right activity for his professional development and resettlement. I know that God knows only one activity, and that is the right activity. And therefore, Leighton now makes right decisions as he is guided and directed by that very presence and power. And it is that which allows him to meet his financial obligations. I know that Spirit is always pouring into his experience. So the resources, financial, circumstantial, whatever is necessary, is even now being poured into Leighton's experience in an abundance of prosperity and right activity. And I know that that activity, which is God, is pouring into his experience the ideas that are necessary, ideas that bring the currency of prosperity, as he allows himself to just be a channel and a vessel through which Spirit works. So I know that this evening that his daughter celebrates fully her birthday, another year on this plane of existence. And I include in that my sister Joyce, knowing that for her, this is truly a wonderful new year. And every blessing of a birthday is now poured into these two souls as they celebrate fully this evening. I give thanks, and I know that the words that I have spoken are the words of truth spoken unto their own fulfillment, and must accomplish that unto which it is sent. So I give thanks. I truly give thanks. And I release this word to law, knowing that all this is already so, and so it is. The next request is for restoration for Lati, that's Cheryl. And there is restoration, completion of my vouchers and prompt payment for work done on my cases. Okay. And for Lilith and Delil, computer. Okay. Well, we're going to treat even for your inanimate objects. So let me do a prayer of restoration for Cheryl, recognizing that God is that perfect presence and power, operating in, through, and as each one of us. We are one with this power. And in this knowing, I speak this word for Cheryl, knowing that restoration is already assured. I know that whatever needs to be put right in her experience this evening, I know that that presence and power is even now guiding her, uplifting her, restoring her physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever is necessary, emotionally. I know that right here in this moment, Cheryl is being restored to that perfect presence, knowing that right where she is, the presence of God is enfolding and encircling and uplifting her. We give thanks knowing that that spirit of restoration is even now pouring itself into the experience of every person within the sound of my voice and our fellow Jamaicans, all who have been impacted in some way or form by this passing of this storm, Hurricane Melissa. I am knowing that full restoration is even now taking place in the right and perfect order. We give thanks for that presence and power that is now restoring each person into wholeness, wholeness of mind, of spirit, of the ability to just know that we can go forward, we can move on. We are alive in this moment. And so we know that that restoration is assured because there is only one presence and power. That is God, and God is good. I accept this, I believe this, and I know this to be the truth as I joyously release this word to that infinite love mind, giving thanks that all this is already so. And so it is. Okay. Thanks, Auntie Lil. You're requesting your identification. Yes, I figured it was your phone. And if there are no other prayer requests, whether on YouTube or in the chat, Leighton says we rise above every sense of separation into a consciousness of union with good, with God. And so it is, and all is well. Thank you, Leighton. Friends, I'd now like to share with you our few brief reminders this evening. So I will just ask you for a moment that I can share the messages and the reminders that we have for Spiritual Mind Healing Service this evening. So let me go ahead and share with you. And I'll put this in slideshow. So here are the reminders. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for being here, those in the Zoom room and those on YouTube. And the reminders are, if you would like to learn to play the guitar or the piano, then join us on Sundays at 1:45 p.m. at the temple. And as a reminder, we do have Lorraine Jones on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Grief facilitator being, I'm sorry, excuse me. Go back into slideshow. Moving too fast. It's in the book room, and it's a weekly grief support that we ask you all that if you know of anyone who requires this service, just encourage them, let them know, share the information that they can talk to somebody about how they're dealing with loss and grief, especially at this time. So I would implore you to share this information with someone who might just be out there and needing this kind of support. And then next Tuesday, please join us for Spiritual Mind Healing Service. It will be one of our ministers, and that might be Reverend, and is it Reverend Michael or yourself? But we will have Tuesday evening spiritual mind healing service at 6 next Tuesday. So tune in right here on the Zoom platform or on YouTube. And of course, this week, Prayer Power is on Thursday evening, and the Zoom link is sent out, as well as it's on our Facebook page. So join Reverend Sonia and that dedicated group of persons for Prayer Power, where you can come and be uplifted by the transformative power of prayer. Thursdays at 6 p.m. And then another exciting activity happening at the center, and that's Tai Chi for everyone. And note, especially seniors. So please join instructor Stuart Maxwell on Fridays at 9 a.m. right at the temple in the annex. There is a cost of $2,000 per person. Bring a friend. The more persons that come, the cost of the class goes down. So we look forward to seeing you on a Friday morning for an hour in the annex, 9 a.m. for Tai Chi for everyone. And then, friends, we are still continuing to support Stay Strong Jamaica. So we ask you to continue to bring your donations of food, personal hygiene products, and water between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Mondays to Friday, as we deliver these to the RJR group for distribution. Let us all be love in action by supporting our fellow Jamaicans in this time of need. So remember, if you haven't done so as yet, please drop off something, water, canned goods, whatever it is, at the center between 11 and 2, Mondays to Friday. And next Wednesday, it's the first Wednesday in the month, it's our last labyrinth walk for the year, and I'd put out a special appeal for you to just join those dedicated folks who walk the labyrinth every first Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. for a consciousness of peace for Jamaica and the world. So remember, make a note of that. Wednesday, December 3rd, 5:30 p.m. We invite you to walk the labyrinth for peace. Now, friends, if you wish to support our ministry financially, we have new payment options that are available in Jamaican and US dollars at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. If you click that link, you can find all our banking details. We thank you, as together we support a world that works for everyone. So just as before you click that link, remember donate.templeoflightcsl.org, or the donate button that appears on any one of our emailing that comes out from the center. You'll notice a red button at the top that says donate. You click on it, it takes you to this link. Please join me then in the love offering blessing. Together, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father. And so it is. And now, friends, please join me in the prayer for our center.
Jennifer, before you do the final prayer and the prayer for Sunday, can you also share with people that on the 20th of December, we're going to have our community sing.
Okay.
And it's going to be, they just look out for all the information about it. But it's a Sunday afternoon, and it's there at the temple, and it is really going to be an exhilarating hour and a half of singing and Christmas music and instruments and young people and not so young and so on. So look out for it.
Okay, thank you, Auntie Lil, for sharing that. Yes, that's something that I missed in preparing the slides. But yes, that's Community Sing. Let me give it another plug for you. It's on the 21st of December, that Sunday. And we invite you all to come out and support that event at the center. Bring a friend. Tell somebody about it.
We'll begin for the Bethlehem Children's Home as well.
Right, yes, and it will proceeds from that will be for the Bethlehem's Children's Home. Yes. So please, we do ask for your support. And thank you
And
again, Auntie Lil. So now please join me.
and just a minute, Jennifer.
Sure.
What about Thursday forum?
The
You didn't mention
Thursday.
that forum at 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's still ongoing with
Yes.
Reverend Sonia's group. She
Yeah.
does have that. I know that right now you're just reviewing talks that have been done by our senior minister. So that happens every Thursday at 7 p.m. with that group who was last in the class. Foundations classes are still ongoing. There is another one tomorrow, Wednesday. You can't join that again because we're now at class 8. But yes, Leighton, the Thursday forum still happens. So Reverend Sonia normally sends out that link. So you can look out for that. All right. Anything else that anyone else wants to? And Thursday forum is open, so anybody else can join that. So let us now do the prayer for our center. Together, the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. And now please join me in the prayer for Jamaica. Together, the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. And friends, I'd like to encourage you to continue to use this prayer every single day for Jamaica as we go through this process of rebuilding our country. Please remember to include this in your prayer practice, in your spiritual practice, this prayer of Jamaica. And so now I'd like to invite you to join me in the closing affirmative prayer. And I thank you once again for having shared your time and your consciousness with us this evening. So let us go within, knowing that that presence and power which is God, that which operates in, through, and as each one of us, and created each one of us out of itself and called it good. It is that which convened this evening's gathering that we call a spiritual mind healing service. And so I'm giving thanks for every person within the sound of my voice who have taken the time out to be here this evening. I know that together this shared experience has inspired and uplifted each one of us. And I know that as we go through the remainder of this week, we're giving thanks. We're giving thanks for every experience, everything in our lives and our affairs. We're giving thanks for our island, Jamaica. We're giving thanks for our family, our friends, our loved ones. We're giving thanks for employment, for businesses, for every aspect of our life experience. We truly give thanks this evening. So as we go through each day, help us to remember to find 3 things for which we're grateful and to continue with an attitude of gratitude, knowing that what we praise, we raise. So we give thanks as I joyfully and thankfully release this word to that infinite law of mine that has already said yes. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, that all this is already so, and so it is. Namaste.